What the hell are those? Look like fried pig's tail, which can be okay.
You people gonna do something here?
Hey guys, Kiwi here. So due to my journey wanting to cover everything Better Call Saul, I've decided to take a look at some more deleted scenes from the show, this time tackling all deleted scenes from Season 3. Warning of spoilers for Better Call Saul, and let's jump right into it. So the first deleted scene would have occurred about 2/3 of the way through Season 3 Episode 1. In the actual show, this is just after Mike discovers a tracker in his gas cap, so he leaves it at his toll booth job in order to make an overnight call to buy his own tracker from Caldera without the men following him being aware of it.
3:30 in the morning? Seriously?
The deleted scene takes place after Mike gets back to the toll booth from meeting Caldera as he grabs his gas cap with the tracker in it and puts it back in his car, then returns to his shift. There's no dialogue, and to be honest, nothing too eventful happens, so I can see why they probably cut this scene for either time or to not slow down the pace of the Season 3 premiere too much. Although a handful of these deleted scenes are really interesting, this first one from 301 is not one of them, with a pretty self-explanatory reason as to why it was cut out. Moving on to one of my favorite deleted scenes from the season though, which happens about a third into Season 3 Episode 2. This is when Mike has tracked down one of the men following him with the trail leading him to Los Pollos, so he gets Jimmy to go into Los Pollos to spy on the man. In the show, Mike calls Jimmy to meet for breakfast the next morning, then we cut straight to the next day as Jimmy walks into Los Pollos while hearing a voiceover of Mike and Jimmy's conversation discussing the plan moments beforehand. The deleted scene comes into play due to it being the actual full conversation that the voiceover is from. Due to this, we do hear most of the dialogue from the deleted scene in the actual episode as the camera pans around Los Pollos while showing Jimmy entering the building.
This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go inside, buy a cup of coffee, a meal, whatever, and sit in a booth. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go inside, buy a cup of coffee, a meal, whatever, and sit in a booth.
There are a few new lines that we never heard at the start of the conversation that has Jimmy giving Mike a hard time for meeting in his car instead of a restaurant since Mike invited him to breakfast, but that's about it.
When you invited me to breakfast, I expected something a little more, I don't know, restaurant-y. Don't get me wrong, this is very nice.
You ever been in that place?
Pollos Hermanos? Yeah, a couple times. Why?
Now, I do really like the way that they edited the conversation as a voiceover while Jimmy walked into Los Pollos for the actual episode, but it always felt like we were missing a scene of Jimmy actually speaking to Mike beforehand, obviously due to the fact that they combined the two scenes into one. They most likely did this due to time restraints, along with the fact that they most likely wanted to keep the long shot of the camera panning around Los Pollos as Jimmy enters, but probably felt that it was a bit empty or bland without any music or dialogue. If you see my Season 3 tier list, you'll know that I loved episode 302, partly due to everything involving Mike hiring Jimmy to go into Los Pollos, followed by their conversation afterward, so it was fun to see more context around the making of it.
Yeah, what's in the bag? Is it money? It's gotta be money. Drugs? Is it drugs? Something else? Well, I'm guessing money. Tell me I'm right.
He is gonna be here any minute. And I need you inside. You gonna do the job or not?
Fine, I'll do the job. You charmed me into it.
The next two deleted scenes are both from Season 3 Episode 4, with the first happening about a third of the way into the episode elaborating on Hector terrorizing the customers and employees at Los Pollos. By the time Gus shows up in the actual episode, all the customers have left the restaurant with just the employees sitting there with Hector, Nacho, and Arturo. This deleted scene shows how all the customers kept slowly leaving one by one as Hector continued to invade their personal space, making them feel incredibly uncomfortable. At this point, Hector has already lit his cigar and walked behind the counter to grab himself a drink, and then he just casually goes around harassing the customers while they try to eat. He tries speaking to a woman who doesn't answer and then leaves, and we kind of get into this trend where every time Hector moves on to harass a new customer, the previous customer that he was harassing stands up and leaves in the background. And it appears like they shot multiple versions of these customers leaving, as in the actual episode we see that woman leave, except Hector's not there. Because in the actual episode, this is when Hector's still walking behind the counter. But back to the deleted scene, after he walks away from the woman, he goes to bother an elderly couple to passive aggressively ask them if their food is any good.
Any good? Sorry, what did you say?
It's good. Good.
That's good.
This continues as Hector walks up to a third group of people, but as he uncomfortably picks up one of their curly fries, a random man stands up and rhetorically asks Lyle and the employees if they're gonna do anything about Hector's disturbance. This causes probably the most strange confrontation out of all of them, as Hector walks up to the man and tells him that his lunch break is over and tells him to take a chicken leg for the road as he hilariously shoves one of them in the man's front chest pocket.
You got something to say? Nolan Miller. Lunch break is over. Please. Take it to go.
What's even funnier is that instead of saying anything back, the man actually leaves with the chicken leg still in his front pocket. Although I like seeing anything involving Hector pre-wheelchair,
That's good.
the chicken leg moment seems a bit odd, and it makes sense why they would cut it. Now, I do really like how in the actual episode we see all the same customers in the restaurant that we see in the deleted scene, kind of foreshadowing how they're gonna get their time to shine, but sadly, since their scenes were cut, they never did. But it's still interesting how they established these characters for this deleted scene, which would have been an extended version of the original scene showing Hector harassing everyone at Los Pollos. The deleted scene then ends with Nacho hanging up the phone that Lyle is most likely trying to use to call the police, as Nacho tells Lyle to instead call Gus directly and get him over there. Although this deleted scene is really fascinating to watch, I get why they cut it, as it doesn't add anything that we don't already know. The actual episode already showed multiple customers leaving due to Hector causing a scene at Los Pollos, with the deleted scene just elaborating on it. Also, although the deleted scene shows Nacho telling Lyle to call Gus directly to get him to come to Los Pollos, the actual episode already showed Gus's conversation with Lyle from Gus's perspective. The second deleted scene from season 3 episode 4 would happen sometime during the second half of the episode, with Victor confronting Gus over the fact that Mike returned his payment for messing with Hector's distribution. About halfway through the actual episode, Victor delivers Gus's payment to Mike during his night shift at the toll booth, but Mike gives it back to Victor, and then about 3/4 through the episode, Gus speaks to Mike about it the next night at the toll booth as well. The deleted scene happened during the daytime in between both toll booth scenes, immediately after the scene of Gus talking to his employees, giving excuses on why Hector was terrorizing them at Los Pollos, and shows Victor approaching Gus at Los Pollos to inform him that Mike had returned the payment, saying that they're square. The deleted scene is rather short and cuts off right after Victor asks Gus what he wants to do about the situation before Gus can respond. Although this scene creates anticipation of wondering what Gus is going to do about Mike returning his payment, I think cutting the scene altogether works better for the episode because it turns the moment when Gus arrives at the toll booth later to speak to Mike in person into even more of a surprise. The next deleted scene is actually just an extended scene showing cut footage from a montage during season 3 episode 6 when Jimmy was calling all of his elder clients to inform them of his suspension from the law for a year. This was of course when he originally still thought he'd be returning to elder law before everything with Irene happened, and if you've seen my season 3 tier list, you may remember me complimenting this montage multiple times due to many funny comedic moments within it as Jimmy speaks to his clients to try and beat around the bush about his suspension. The thing is, not only is Jimmy hilarious during this montage, but apparently a bunch of it was improv from Bob Odenkirk, which to be honest makes a lot of sense as he is a great comedian. So there's a handful of funny extra scenes of Jimmy speaking to his clients, but the one that I love the most and want to highlight actually involves some lighthearted yet incredibly dark humor while finding out about one of his clients. I'll go ahead and just play it for you and then elaborate.
Oh, that's an honor. And how did he pass? Well, yeah, when it's icy out, you gotta stay off balconies.
Now in the actual episode, we do see part of this moment with Jimmy asking how did he pass, but in the episode, it cuts before we get the hilariously bonus comedic punchline of when it's icy out, you gotta stay off balconies, implying that one of his elder clients didn't pass away due to old age or health complications, but because he apparently fell off of a balcony. Now according to Peter Gould, they just had to cut a few of these moments and or trim them down due to time restraints, but they thought that Bob Odenkirk's improv was so great that they wanted to release the cut footage as an extra, and I'm glad they did since it really is a great scene and I love seeing more of it. The following deleted scene is at the beginning of season 3 episode 9 and is an extension of the cold open of Jimmy bringing cookies to Irene to speak to her and get information about how high the Sandpiper settlement payout is reached. So the deleted scene starts with Jimmy leaving his vehicle and entering Sandpiper with the cookies, and when he signs in as a visitor, he asks if the same manager named Paula still works there, but is told that she was transferred to corporate, implying that she got a raise. This is relevant because in season 1, while Jimmy was gathering evidence to create the Sandpiper case in the first place, he was refused entry by the manager Paula, who eventually got her bodyguards to kick Jimmy out after his failed attempt to give them a demand letter hastily written on some toilet paper in the bathroom.
Telling you guys, big mistake!
I suppose this deleted scene was supposed to explain away why Jimmy was now allowed into Sandpiper again when he was previously kicked out and banned from the property, with the answer being the fact that the manager that got him kicked out was transferred and no longer worked there. I suppose that they deleted this as it wasn't very important to the overall story, along with the fact that they probably figured that no one would even ask about the potential plot hole of Jimmy being let back into Sandpiper in the first place, which is true as I never really thought about it, nor have I ever seen any comments from other viewers bringing it up either.
Holy shit.
The final deleted scene is from the season 3 finale, season 3 episode 10, and is a cut version of what the original cold open to the episode was going to be. Well, either that or what we would have seen just after the intro title sequence. In case you need a refresher, episode 309 ended with Kim's car crash while falling asleep at the wheel, and then just after the intro sequence to 310 showed Jimmy arriving at the hospital to greet her while she was getting a cast put on. The deleted scene shows that Jimmy was actually there waiting to see her at the hospital for a while, with it mainly consisting of a long montage of Jimmy waiting outside the room that Kim was in. The montage features transitions of the camera in the same placement as we see multiple Jimmys pacing around the chairs and switching spots, implying how long he's been waiting there as time passes, which actually reminds me a lot of the Mike montage from episode 308 when we see a top-down view of multiple Mikes as he used a metal detector to find the Good Samaritan's body. Now, not only does this montage of Jimmy obviously show how worried he is for her, but also feels like it was originally almost meant to build tension for the audience as well, as we wondered if Kim was okay alongside Jimmy, so kind of a red herring of sorts since she turned out to be okay. But the thing is, although it feels that way, it was probably never the creator's intention, as we already saw that Kim had survived the car crash, since episode 309 ended with Kim being able to get out of the car herself, revealing that although she was injured, it wasn't fatal or anything like that. So although I like the montage, just like with most deleted scenes, it was probably cut either due to time and or the fact that it does feel unnecessary. So that's all the deleted scenes for season 3 of Better Call Saul, but stay tuned for more videos covering the rest of the deleted scenes from other seasons. I'll have my playlist linked at the end of the video and in the description to all the other deleted scene breakdowns I've already done for Better Call Saul, and I'll also include links to the full deleted scenes as well, in case you wanted to watch them in their entirety, since I could only show short clips of them here and there one at a time due to copyright and fair use and all that jazz. Also, let me know if you want to see me cover the deleted scenes for Breaking Bad too, as I'd be more than happy to eventually break those down as well. In the meantime, I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, subscribe and turn on the bell for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad content, etc, etc. But most importantly, I thank you all so much for watching, especially to the end of the video, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
I think we're done for today.
That's it?
That's it.
That's good.